Welcome back to Occult Perspectives. Taking a nice, gentle little stroll through the woods. Wait a minute and see if anybody pops in on here. But if you're watching this feed at a later time, these are the woods that I used to come back to and do meditation in pretty much every day for the first couple years that I would do my practices and work on things. I see we got a like already. It says we don't have anybody in the chat, but thank you for the like, whoever that was. So, all right, there. Now it says there's somebody chiming in. Welcome to the live chat. Potato. What's up, man? Should have known it was you, huh? How are you doing, dude? Hope you're doing all right. I'm just taking a stroll through the woods. These are the OG woods. These are the woods where I really started to get serious with my meditation practices back in the day. I'm getting over the last little bit of pneumonia too. I went through that this past week. Well, really like 2 weeks. I sang that live show and then my cough got so bad that night. I just went to urgent care and they gave me all the stuff I need for this pneumonia. I'm taking like the last rounds of medicine now, so hoping that'll get all the gunk out pretty well, resting up on the weekend. That's a good idea. Definitely rest is crucial. I probably could be resting myself right now while I have a couple hours of, freedom to do whatever, but I decided I'm gonna come out here to the woods. I actually did some meditation earlier. That was really nice. And I figured why not come back and just go on some more of a walk and do a live feed. So these usually end up being pretty fun to do. One time I was talking to Raphael of Hod, and it told me to just go to the doctor. Yeah, I'm pretty stubborn about going to the doctor for the most part. I don't really like to go unless I have to. I actually paid out of pocket this time too, because I didn't think I had insurance, but I guess I do actually have insurance. It's just not through my workplace. I get vision and dental through them. Is it Raphael of Hod, though? I thought it was, according to Damien Eccles, it's supposed to be Michael, I think. Michael is Hod. At least that's how that's the system I've typically worked with. And then Raphael is Tippereth, right? Let's see, we've got 2 people in the chat now. Welcome to the live stream. Taking a stroll through the woods. We may even make it back to the little spot where I meditate. I've meditated in several spots back here. I've spent so many hours back in these woods. I used to live in this town, and it's weird because it's right in the middle of town, but nobody really knows about it that much. You see it when you go by, but you don't really know that there's a trail. And then it just opens up to this big magical forest. This trail over here, I'll flip the camera around. Excuse me. This trail, this is all new. See, there's these little red flags here. And I followed it earlier, and it goes all the way to like the back of a building. So I think I'm gonna be curious and actually follow it all the way. I think it just goes to like a store or something, which is kind of weird because none of this path was ever here before. Like somebody's come in like in the past 6 months and just knocked like all this path away. This used to be just pure trees right here. I'd have run into so much stuff by now. So somebody's been renovating back here quite a bit. Both work, they just have slightly different approaches. Classical music contrasted to jazz. That's a good little metaphor. I love classical music. I really do. You know, I used to listen to metal all the time and rock and stuff, and I've played in so many like bands at this point and covered so many songs that's not really the music I want to listen to anymore. I love it, but if I'm going to listen to it, I want to be playing along, if that makes sense. I'd rather jump on the drum kit and start playing rather than just listening to it for leisure music. And a lot of the times if I'm, you know, working on meditation or trying to relax, I really like either classical music or just meditation tones. There's so many meditation tones that work and are nice. I recommend the YouTube channel Magic in Music if you have not checked them out yet. They're actually a featured YouTube channel on my homepage. If you go to the bottom, yeah, see this path? It just opens up back here, and there's a whole building, and I think that's Tractor Supply Company is what that is. It's like the back, yeah. There's just a whole little road back here, and they opened it up. So strange, looks like it's not finished yet, but you'll be able to drive back through here. It's kind of strange. Let's see what's this way. It is kind of weird though. I didn't fully walk this earlier because I wasn't sure if I was going to walk up on some people doing some work or not, but yeah, this is strange. Yeah, none of this stuff was here. They put a whole bridge in over the little creek that's back here too. To get to the creek, you used to have to go like all the way around and go through the cornfield. Yeah, there's the cornfield right there. Or whatever it is they're planting there. So, yep. Maybe I'll be able to make my way down to the water there. There's no easy access from here. So yeah, Potato, what kind of practices are you doing these days? If you don't mind me asking. Because for me personally, I've really cut back on a lot of my practices. I've just been trying to ground in life and work through some things. But I do still occasionally do, you know, pretty basic exercises. Even if it's just, you know, sitting there, and I usually try to start out envisioning a magic circle, and you know, me being the dot in the middle of the circle. Okay, and then I think this path just goes to the front of the woods. Very interesting. I guess I'll keep going around. I don't do banishing too much anymore, but I will occasionally if I feel that it's really needed. I've been kind of like focusing more on just invocation with certain spirits instead of just like overall ceremony, if that makes sense. Yeah, this is kind of weird. I'm just gonna go back because now I'm just going towards the road and the street. But very strange. Is that a dragonfly? Or is that a butterfly? I can't tell. What are you? Right there. Oh. What are you? It's pretty, whatever it is. Oh. I won't bug it anymore. Last Karmic, what's up? How are you? Caught alive, missed them for ages at the moment. Yeah, I haven't heard from you as much lately. Hope you've been doing all right. Been thinking about you. Work has kept me busy, unfortunately. Yeah, I get that. For sure. If you work a lot of hours, it's hard by the time you're done working. Sometimes you just want to rest. Sometimes that's what's best for your body, because for me, when I do like meditation exercises, I kind of like to plan my whole day around it, or at least have a half day to do that. So I kind of got up and got my shower and got out of the house today around, let's see, like 10:30, 11. It's like 1:30 right now, so I've been out for a couple hours, did some meditation, got moving. That's the thing with me, I just have to keep moving. And sometimes after work, you're just like, ugh, it's gonna be better for me if I conserve my energy instead of trying to expend it into a bunch of spiritual stuff. And a lot of people get caught up on the intricacies of magic and all that stuff, but really just being able to enjoy life and doing what you feel like you need to do and naturally, letting the process unfold. There's a lot to be said for that as well. It doesn't always have to be perfection, but we always want, a good level of foundation. We want to be somewhat in control. You gain control by letting go. It's like a paradox, You'll never have control over everything, but at the same time, you are source as well. So, yeah, here's this little bridge that I was talking about. This is all new. Like, they just had to have put this in recently. And there's a little creek just going on through. So it's kind of a cool little bridge. Grasshopper. Yeah, there's definitely grasshoppers out here, that's for sure. I think that was like a moth though, or something. Maybe it was a grasshopper, but it's hard to know sometimes. Maybe it's some crazy hybrid. Honestly, walks and noticing animals and thinking about what they mean. Yeah, because they all have, messages. They all have archetypal meanings and patterns, and it is important to pay attention to what shows up. Like there's a dragonfly. Where'd it go? There it is. Hopefully the camera's not too choppy. Yep, dragonfly. There's something else flying around too, but it's a pretty black one. Keep missing them. Yeah, I'm okay in clown world. Yeah, we all live in the midst of clown world currently, I think, in some ways. How you been? Felt your dad at all? Yeah, with my dad, it was the most, I would say the thing that I noticed the most is like right when he passed, I did kind of see him in soul flight. He seemed really happy. He was just released, and that's really the best way I can explain it. And I definitely feel his presence is always with me. That's kind of how our ancestors are, any of our relatives, their DNA is within us. And so it goes with all of existence. We are all interconnected. It is all one. And you can tap into that anytime you want to. I believe that you can contact any force or intelligence that you need to. And our loved ones, yeah, they're always with us, So just the fact that you incarnate, like your parents, for instance. Oh, there's a robin or something. I think he had something in his mouth. But yeah. Connecting with loved ones that we've lost. They're always there. And our influences, ripple outwards, and we never want to think that what we do is insignificant, because it is. It leaves an impact, it leaves a change, We carry the memories of our ancestors. And not only our mind holds memories, but our bodies as well. Now this dragonfly it's kind of flying right in front of me. Very neat. Too much magic is an escapist behavior. We all must financially provide for those we care about. Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. Yeah, I know some people who, I don't know how they've gotten by in life, like not working at all. Kind of crazy. So they're even into spirituality and stuff, but one of them's actually used to be a close friend of mine, and I don't hang out with him anymore because he hangs out with people I would not even associate with. And there's other people I care about that are hanging out with those same people, and it makes me question. It just makes me question a lot. So we see differently. We see, he doesn't have anything against me, but some people you got to let them make their own choices, and leave it at that and follow your heart and, be around what you need to be around and create space and create boundaries to do what you need to do. Hello, another beautiful walk. Yes, indeed. How are you? Is Daryl? Is that how you pronounce that? Daryl Lux Light? Or Luke's? AI bots keeping tabs. Yeah, I think I definitely got an AI bot the other day. It was just the most random person, and they were really weird. I ended up finding their profile later on. I don't know how the hell they found my channel. They didn't seem like anybody who would be even remotely interested in this kind of material on this channel, you know, but you never know. So, just joking. No, I was watching Universal Mastery's live stream one time, and he had bots like really bad. They just kept coming in and like being real rude and just saying the dumbest comments, and it was kind of annoying. I think he had to like reboot his chat once or twice or somehow get rid of them. I think it'll let you get rid of them or kick people out of the chat, you know, if they're not behaving. Yeah, dude, when he joined the live stream, that was awesome. I was really that was like really humbling to, I don't know, it was cool. I definitely was excited about that. So I look up to that dude a lot. He works really, really hard, you know, and he's somebody who's just delved deep into the work, you know. And for me, you know, all of this is, I haven't gone into it that deep, I would say. In my own ways, I have gone pretty deep with some of the things on a whole, you know, magical, macrocosmic level. But he's actually doing the work. Me, I'm just more of a dabbler and more of a scholar, per se. I read a lot of books, so I've just accumulated a lot of knowledge and wisdom from reading different things. Oh, there's a toad. Say hello. Hello, everyone. For those of you who are just now tuning in, be sure to leave a thumbs up if you can. Just taking a little nature walk right now. Pretty good. Glad you're doing good. Super hot here in Moscow. Oh, wow, you're in Russia. Just driving home and saw you streaming. Heck yeah, that's so cool that, you know, we're all able to connect, you know, from all around the world, you know, on YouTube, and being able to connect with like-minded people. Because that's been one of my big things lately, is I've just like alienated myself from so many people because I'm trying to change, and I'm trying to grow, and I'm trying to evolve. And I see a lot of people just falling back into the same habits. And I'm like, you know, not only like, why are you doing that, but how is that still appealing to you? You know, some things are just like a phase, and I feel I've been through a lot of different phases at this point. And, you know, some groups of people, it just makes me feel like I'm back in like high school again or something. It's really weird, you know. It's just much better to be around people who at least care about consciousness, or, you know, trying to appreciate reality and not, you know, always having to party or whatever. I don't get it much anymore, you know. I'm just a peace-loving guy, I guess. I just, you know. Found you through Freighter RC, by the way. Oh, wow, cool. Heck yeah. I know he's given me a couple shout outs. I jumped in on a couple of his live streams once. That was really fun. He's a good dude. RC Freighter. If any of you have not checked out his YouTube channel, you definitely should. Should definitely check it out. He interviews some really cool people on his channel. And he's a brother too. He's a Mason. Melek, what's up, dude? How are you? I'm doing okay, man. I've been dealing with some things. I've just got over pneumonia this past 2 weeks. I still have a little bit of a cough, but it's all coming out. I'm taking like Mucinex now, and they actually gave me some steroids and like antibiotics and stuff. So I have felt a lot better. I had like 0 to no energy there for a while. And when I kind of sit in that energy, it's really easy for me to get, kind of sad or depressed a little bit. But I've been able to kind of get outside past couple days. I've been kind of staying a little more active because I've had more energy. So, but yeah, things overall are not bad. So, not bad at all. Just got to stay focused on what's important. That's the main thing. What video was that on? It's the one that Universal jumped on. It was, he jumped in on the live stream where I'm at my parents' house. It was like right after my dad passed away, and I did a little live stream in the backyard, and I show the boat dock and the lake and all that stuff. It's like towards the end of the live stream. Right, yeah, like the last probably 15 minutes, like Universal jumped on the live stream and said hi, and we were talking about healing the inner child, because I had an exercise that I started doing, and I really need to jump back into it. I've just needed to find the motivation lately to do it and the right timing and all that. But going back through the years of my life and reviewing them, and any moments of sadness or trauma, just trying to kind of go back to those moments and kind of sit with the feeling and love and accept myself for any of those things, and tell myself that it's all right. And I've been doing that lately a lot more. I've been saying, I'm not ashamed of certain feelings. I'm not ashamed of the way, what myself and my emotions are trying to show me or to express, regardless of what society might say about it, or, other people. Like, we all have certain instincts, we all have certain feelings, and it's key to try and work through that rather than just block it away. A lot of people will just bury themselves in work. They'll work and work and work and work when they don't really have to. Like, they might even already have plenty of money, but they're running away from something. We all kind of run away from certain things, but in the end, it's all got to be faced. It's all got to be processed. All the energies have to be synthesized, I think of spirituality like transportation, many avenues and approaches. Indeed, there are many forms of transportation. I want to start doing that magic where I can teleport anywhere I want to. That's the next magic spell I gotta learn. The teleportation spell. But no, I definitely see what you're doing. Yeah, spirituality there's so many different channels of thought. There's so many different traditions. It's ridiculous. I mean, and it's all it's all like pointing to the same stuff. That's the thing, we can put names on things, we can put labels on things, we can try to categorize them, all of these things, but at the essence, it's all what it is. I think Hermetics is really getting down to the root of what all these traditions really are. It's those 7 Hermetic principles. It is the Force, if we're going to look at it from the Star Wars perspective. So the Force is everything, and the Force is everywhere. And you can try to dogmatize it, you can try to label it, you can picture it as angels and demons if you want to, you can picture it as jinn and other elemental spirits. There's so many different ways to perceive the spiritual realms, and I don't think any of them are really right or wrong, like as long as you're figuring out how to utilize the energy in the way that you want to, you know, and you're not out trying to cause a bunch of mayhem. It's all about a balance of things. Yes, 100% with books, knowledge overload. Books are the real deal. Yeah, I've read a lot of books. It's hard to remember all the knowledge, so I like to keep the best books around so that I can just jump back to them whenever I need to as resources, constant resources. Like Modern Magic by Donald Michael Craig. I actually have a friend who's borrowing that at the moment. I kind of want it back, but I mean, you can get this, I think it's like the first or the second edition is free as a PDF online. So it's pretty easy to get that way. But that's a book I like to have around at all times. Like Morals and Dogma, The Secret Teachings of All Ages. Those are some of the major books that I always want to have on hand. They just come really in handy for research, and especially my book. Well, you know, Karmic, you've listened to my audiobooks because you're part of the Patreon. And I think you get a lot of value for just $5. And then if you do $10, you get that extra chapter. And I think what I'm going to do very soon is I'm going back through the book and reviewing the first 8 chapters, and I'm going to go ahead and get it copyrighted. And then once I do that, I will make it so that you can just buy and download a PDF. I don't know if I'll have to do that through Patreon or how that's going to work, but I want to charge an actually pretty good amount of money for the book, for the PDF, because it's a lot of good information in one place. And nobody's really quite written a book like this. So it's a magnum opus. It's only part 1. The prologue and the first 8 chapters, that's only part 1 of the book. So it's going to be like a lifelong project. So I'll probably want to charge, you know, realistically, no less than $50 for the PDF, maybe more like $75. And then if somebody wants the audiobooks, they can jump on the Patreon as well and listen to those. I like that because it has music accompanying my voice. So you're not just listening to my voice, you get some pretty classical music, you get some cool video game music. I think I even throw like some Lord of the Rings music in there and some other cool stuff. Occult clicks, yuck. Definitely, same here. I'm 33 and have no friends, so chatting with like-minded people is awesome. That's funny, you're 33, and we all know the magic of that number. I'm 32, I'll be 33 in November, so I'm getting pretty close. Freighter from MAM. From, what is that? Yeah, Mr. J. Oh, Ty, I'm sorry, I need to catch up. Oh, Freighter from Mind and Magic. Yeah, that's one of the first YouTube channels I started watching when it comes to esotericism, and it was the first time I'd ever really found anybody talking about that kind of stuff in that way on the internet, and I was like, whoa, this guy has some valuable content. So yeah, I've known about Freighter Xavier for quite a while. Are you a part of any groups, or you're mainly doing solo work? I'm a Mason, but Masons don't really practice ceremonial magic. It's not like in the Golden Dawn where and I talk about that in my book too, That's why I wrote the book, is because I explained the difference between Freemasonry and like magical orders such as the Golden Dawn and the OTO. They're similar, like there's still officers that play certain roles, but there's not like, it's magical, but it's more just ceremonial in nature. It's almost like I don't know, Freemasonry, it's kind of like, it's a very solid and foundational practice. That's why I really like it. You know, the tradition's really old at this point. But it's a lot more basic. It's a lot more rudimentary, I would say, than like, say, the Golden Dawn or the OTO, or really any other order that actually does ritual magic. I've never been a part of any order like that, although I did visit an OTO lodge once, and that was a really interesting experience because it was a Gnostic mass. I did not drink the, what is it called, or the cake of light. I didn't partake of that. It was somebody's baptism that night anyway, so I didn't. I wasn't going to anyway. I just was there to learn and to be an observer. Patreon is very cheap. Yeah, my Patreon is really cheap. Oh yeah, you were asking if I do mainly solo work, but yeah, when I've been active as a Mason. I'm not as active as I was, but I was really active from like 2014 to 2020, and that's when I really slowed down, was 2020. And then I just do my individual practices. I always have since like 2016 is when I started doing, like, you know, working with angels and stuff. Sounds sick as you guys are babies, so you turned 33 in November. I turned 42 in February. Nice. You're still young. That's not that much older. Not at all, really. 40 is like the new 20. Coolest lodge boy, you, Ty. I'm glad you think so. I'm glad you think so. I guess I'm just a lot more willing to talk about these subjects, but the reason I talk about them is because I'm well studied in them. Like, I understand what I'm talking about. I see a lot of people that try to talk about Freemasonry, and I don't know where they're getting their information from. And there's a lot of conspiracy theories and stuff too, but I mean, I've been a master at this point of a lodge. You know, I'm a 32nd, and all I've ever seen is a bunch of people working really hard to do good stuff. You know, make men better men and help provide for the community in some way. And really the level of reality that we want to be on is so that we can build that foundation on a societal level where people can be initiated. That was the whole reason for the mysteries in the first place. Create foundation and, you know, make it so that people can have their needs supplied, so that they're not always in that R complex, functioning from that place of the brainstem, the R complex. Because a lot of people just live in fight or flight. And it's going to take society being elevated to a certain level. Manly P. Hall talks about this, where people can have that grounding, and then the mystery schools can be reinstated. I don't know when that's going to happen. I think there's going to be a lot of dark shit that happens maybe before that golden age, because I think we're like towards the end of the Kali Yuga, the dark age, although Madame Blavatsky says in one of her books that we were already past the Kali Yuga. The new age started already. But what we're experiencing is the whiplash, or the back tide from all the shit right at the end of the Kali Yuga. So we're kind of in that mode. I'm not sure what age it is that comes after. the Kali Yuga, what the name of that cycle is. But everything works in cycles. You know, everything comes and goes. So give me just a second, guys. I'm going to try to check something. It did let me look at my phone real quick. Thanks for your answers. Got to go now. Enjoyed the walk with you. Have a great day. Hey, you as well. Thank you very much for tuning in. And yeah, you're all the way in Russia, so you're on the other side of the world. So that's really cool that we got to connect. I hope you have a wonderful day. Yeah, I hope you did get something from this conversation. Maybe you can tune back in and watch the rest later if you want to. Oh, there's a big old slug on the ground. Oh yeah. Wow, that camera makes it look really big. I could have just stepped right on that dude though. And all the Truther Gone Wilds, well, went wild. I was one of them. Yeah, I used to be a conspiracy nut myself, kinda. And then I realized that wake up to find out that you are the eyes of the world. Is that what the Grateful Dead says? Something like that. Wake up to find out that you are the eyes of the world. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. We used to play that one a lot because I used to be in a Grateful Dead tribute band. That was some of the most interesting crowds I ever played for, I'll tell you what. Those people, those hippies, they know about some energy stuff. But the culture's kind of crazy. It gets crazy out there sometimes. So I'm a more, what's the word? I'm a more domesticated beast, I guess we could say, but I'm still a beast nonetheless. Might even be the beast. You never know. Great eyes. Well, thank you. Thank you. I prefer to not wear glasses, but I haven't been home the past couple days, so I just decided I'm not going to worry about taking contacts. I will just wear my glasses. That way I don't have to worry about even taking them or popping them in or out, you know. A lot of the times contacts are just kind of annoying to deal with. And I have stigmatism in one of my eyes, so my left contact will kind of get out of place, and then I almost have to like put it back with my finger. It's a whole mess. So it would just be nice to have 20/20 vision. Maybe in my next life I'll get 20/20 vision. So I hope I've left more good influences and left an impression that is, you know, promising and fulfilling in this world for people. Hopefully I've just been a good enough influence that the world is a better place because I existed. And I think if we all think that way and have that mentality, that's really the old soul mentality. It's like, man, I just want to leave it better than I found it, you know? And I don't really have a whole lot of hunger for power, just personal power, you know, power within my own sphere of influence, within my own life. And I think that's really when every man and woman strives for that. You know, do what thou will shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will. It's, you know, your personal will manifesting your personal reality. The rest of the world doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter what the fuck anybody else is doing because you're following your will. And those who want to align with that and be a part of your kingdom will be. And those who don't, those who find other things more important, then that's fine. You know, go our separate ways. Part on the level, as they say, or part on the square. Some old quotes there. You don't want to come back here, do you? Back to earth. Is that what you're saying? I think it would take a lot to bring me back here. I'm not saying I won't come back, but there's a part of me that tells me that I won't be, but I'm not really sure. There's just me and God got to have a conversation. Me and my own highest self have to have a sit down talk, because there's just some coincidences, not coincidences, but just some things that I haven't totally figured out. You know, despite all this information that I have, there's still so much that I question. And I guess, you know, if we knew all the answers, what fun would it be anyway? But yeah, I feel that I come from somewhere else. It's what I've intuitively kind of felt all my life. I don't really know where that's from. I did kind of study some of the starseed stuff for a while, but I didn't allow myself to get too wrapped up in that, because I think a lot of it's kind of hoopla. But I think there is some real truth to that. I think I do come from a quote-unquote higher place, a more quote-unquote angelic realm, because I feel that anytime I refer to people or society, I call them humans. Like I'm not a human myself. I'm like, these humans are so weird. They're so bizarre. But here I am in a human physical vessel anyway. So there's some really cool things about being a human that you can experience. Hell yeah, there is. So I think the best thing to do is combine the best of both worlds. Have the spiritual understanding, the spiritual knowing, yet enjoy the fruits of the physical world as well. That's real balance. That's whole, you know, being holy, being holistic, embracing all parts of yourself, the more physical and the more spiritual. I haven't heard you say the word. Oh yeah, that word? Yeah, I won't really talk about that. I know what that's from, and I've not gone through that portion of things. What that name is, though, it's a compound name. I think it means three. It's three different deities combined into one name. If you read the Hierarchy, I think Masons wrote that book, and they openly talk about that word. I'm pretty sure in that book. If not in that book, there's definitely people who do talk about it. But yeah, that's not something that I would really talk too much about on my channel. But I think there's a lot of power in that name. And I will write about that a little bit in my book once I get to that part of the book. But I'm not there yet, so. Hi everyone, hope all is well. Three-eyed Nomad, what's up? I remember your little picture of Piccolo. I love that picture. Piccolo's the shit. Yellow. Laughing my fucking ass off. Yeah, you know. Toad, old man, cat. Yeah. Yeah, that old man kind of, I've seen a couple guys that kind of look like that old man. For sure. They kind of got that same face. It's funny. But I don't think there's anything to be scared about when it comes to those energies, you know. It's just, it is what it is. It's all a part of Source anyway, right? So a lot of people get scared by different entities or beings, but they're all really a part of us too. So it's really like learning how to work with it, understand it for what it is. If it needs to be utilized, it needs to be utilized. If not, then not, you know? I feel like my soul's been all around, but most recently, Mars and Draco constellation. Okay. So you've been a traveler. What do they call the souls that they come down from higher wanderers? That's what it is. I think I might be a wanderer. They even say that wanderers are like prone to like allergies and shit, and I've had allergies my whole life, so it kind of makes sense. They call us the brothers and sisters of sadness. So we see where our loved ones are in the lower dimensions, and we've come to like help them. We've come to show them, to shed some light so that they can rise, you know, even if that means going into their depths, because those who go furthest into their own depths are those who are going to be able to rise the most. You know, once you hit rock bottom, there's like no further you can go down. The only way you're going to be able to go is up at a certain point. So, and the more you work with energies, especially like angelic energies, I feel like there's going to be energies that prevent those lower things from taking hold. It's not that the lower energies aren't going to bother you or not teach you things, but that at the end of the day, you're ultimately, you know, your soul resides in the higher spheres. So you can do whatever work you need to do in the lower realms too. The hellish realms, I've been to a lot of weird, strange places in dreams that are very low dimensional. Like we're talking like the ghetto astral realm. The lower astral, some weird places in dreams. I don't know where I'm hanging around, but the soul travels, you know, that's all part of it. Hello, everyone who's tuning in. I see we have 6 people now. So make sure we're getting those thumbs up if we can. But back to you said the soul spin all around. Most recently, Mars and the Draco constellation. Mars is like that warrior type energy. So that's more of like a negatively polarized like sphere, isn't it? For entities who would exist there. And Draco, Universal Mastery, if you watch his YouTube channel, he's very draconian. He's got a lot of that reptilian energy going on. I think I have some of that going on too, honestly. I think I do have some kind of reptilian connection to some degree. I'm a mix of like this harsh draconian energy, but I also have a lot of angelic energy too. So I feel like I have different influences going on simultaneously. I mean, we all do. We all do to an extent. We're a mix of both. But I have a very dark side. Especially being Scorpio, like quadruple Scorpio, I resonate a lot with a lot of the darker shit. I really do. But I don't really practice it. I've definitely done things that have shifted things on a macrocosmic scale that might seem harsher or like darker in a sense, but it was part of the whole plan. You know, it wasn't just me. When we let the source, you just said the architect, you know, work through us, that's what happens. So it's not, see, people like they complain about not having money or not having like the things that they want, but there's so much more going on. It's like it's good to ground and have your material needs provided for. But once you have that, then start trying to build a better world. Don't just be a creature of habit that just eats, sleeps, and works and never aspires to be more. You know, you gotta, I don't know exactly how I know what I'm trying to say, but I don't know exactly how to say it. But essentially, people just don't see the bigger picture because they're worried about all the little things, when the whole grand scheme of things is so much bigger than that. Like, it's literally infinity possibilities, and we're like right in the middle of it. We are the dot in the middle of the circle. We are the sun at the center of our own galaxy, our own solar system, the soul, the sun, Tippereth. You know, the heart of the tree of life. Nah, no way. He is the one, baby. Tie getting deep. Kendall Hall. What's up, Kendall? Babe of the Abyss. Nice. Laughing my fucking ass off. Yes, I'm a Scorpio, so we're ruled by Mars and Pluto. Yep, that sounds right. And what's funny is my Mars is in Scorpio, And my Pluto is in Scorpio as well. Sun, Moon, Mars, and Pluto are all in Scorpio. And then my Lilith and Ascending are both Capricorn. So there you've got the earthly kind of devilish type energy, that goat energy, earth, carnal, mixed with Scorpio. Better watch out. Yeah, it's called Borderliner. Borderline? Huh. So yeah, people get caught up in not having things or not being entertained or whatever, but it's like I said, there's always a bigger story unfolding. And this life is such a blip in time. You know, it's such a short period of time that we incarnate here as physical beings. We never want to forget, you know, the infinite source that we are and that we come from. That divine source which literally transcends everything. The purest form of source that I've come to understand, I don't know if any of you have a better answer. You know, I'm always down to learn what other people have to say because I only have pieces of the puzzle. You know, I only have so many pieces. But the Ein, which is the top level of the Empyrean heaven above the tree of life, the Ein is the no thing, which it's not nothing. I mean, it's called the void, but within the void is all potentiality. It's undifferentiated potentiality. Before there was any split, before there was any separation, it was the unity, it was the all. But it was the also nothing. It's everything and nothing simultaneously. It's the crazy paradox of everything, of life. It's all kind of paradoxical in this weird like loop kind of way. Vape. Yeah, I should not be vaping. I should not be. I have the theory that one can never truly disconnect from source. Yeah, I was just watching a video about this dude. You can probably find him on YouTube. It's like he's exposing like Illuminati / Satanism or whatever. And he talks about how he was tricked into thinking that he sold his soul to the devil. But he says you can't really sell your soul to the devil because you can't sell what isn't yours. And he essentially says that like Christ or source, like your soul always belongs with, he doesn't use the word source, which makes me wonder if his video is even valid, but it's still an interesting story to check out nonetheless. But he was basically like a Satanist who converted fully and became like a Catholic dude because he said he literally saw Jesus in the church, like as a physical manifestation. Kind of a crazy story. It's really kind of wild. How long does it take to reach Christ consciousness? What's up, Gallant? How are you? I love your Super Saiyan Goku profile picture. That's awesome. I love Dragon Ball Z. Love it. And it's very spiritual too. If you think of the levels of Super Saiyan, like the blonde hair is what the solar plexus chakra, and then he gets what when he turns Super Saiyan 4, or which one is it where he gets blue hair? So it's like a higher vibrational color, which would be more like, throat chakra energy, the blue. So it's like moving up the color spectrum as they transform. Very like esoteric, a lot of Eastern influence in the Dragon Ball Z series. They talk about chi and all those sorts of things. And that's an important part of the spiritual path, is like the physical component of it. martial arts and like working out and all those things, if you don't have a strong physical body, your magic and your mental state's going to be a lot more clouded. You're not going to be able to have that sharp precision that you need when you're trying to work with certain energies. But how long does it take to reach that? I mean, that's a hard question to answer. Sorry about that, guys. Still getting over this pneumonia, but I think it's all working itself out, and I hope so anyway. I feel like there's been phases of my life where I reached like Christ consciousness, where I had so much love in my heart and just like unconditional type love, that I've been in those states before. But then, it's hard to remain there constantly, because there's going to be things in the physical world which trigger you. You could go through certain traumas, and those things are meant to happen. Like you're meant to be here in the physical world so you can experience these harsh things. And then when you find true humility, when you truly surrender to the Spirit, and you realize that you are the Christ, you are the light, it's the whole I am, like the Saint Germain, like I am the supreme intelligence governing this manifested reality, things of that nature. When you know that you're the creator, that's like Christ consciousness in a way. I wouldn't say that I embody true Christ consciousness in the sense of like the Good Shepherd way. Because if you're a true Christ, it's very easily to be taken advantage of in this reality. So I've taken on a lot of what I could say more like Luciferian archetypal energies to kind of balance out the super overly Christ energies. And some people might be like, oh, that doesn't make sense. But Lucifer and Christ are they're like kind of like two sides of the same coin. They're not really the same, but in a way they are. Probably more theoretically, because Christ was like a fourth dimensional being. He was like a wanderer who came back and made a sacrifice for, third density so that they could start evolving more. Whereas Lucifer is kind of this overarching, quote unquote, higher spirit or social memory complex. It's a hive mind. It's a bunch of intelligences merged into one. And in our local, our galaxy, within our part of the universe, Lucifer is one of the leading top dogs, you could say. But Lucifer's not ultimate source, but he's very much connected to source within our local galaxy. And it's an energy which brings resistance. It's an energy which can be harsh. He's like the dark shepherd. So Christ is the good shepherd, and being that sacrifice that needs to be had for certain evolution to take place, whereas Lucifer is the one who is the dark shepherd. He pushes people into their evolutionary potential and says, I don't care if you like it or not, you're better, you can do better, you can evolve, you can grow. It's almost like there is an arrogance to it. There is I guess you could say ego, but not in the sense of the lower ego. It's more like a spiritual ego type thing. And learning to be the light bearer, the one who brings the light to mankind through gnosis. Christ understanding is more of like a surrendering, like a saying, okay, it's all one, it's all just love. Whereas Lucifer it's the same, uniting yourself with source, but through knowledge. You're coming to new levels of yourself and new levels of reality through gnosis, through knowledge. These are just some general ways of explaining it. I guess that I've never really vocalized before, but sometimes these videos, when I do them, a lot of this is channeled in a way, so there's a lot of energies that are working through me at the moment, that are working through all of us that are on this kind of path. Yeah, that's all BS. Truth or Gone Wild. That story. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. The blue one is where he mixes God powers with Super Saiyan. Yeah, Super Saiyan God, that's right. Yep, but he's moving up the color spectrum from yellow to blue. And then isn't there one that's like white hair? That would be like the crown chakra, I think. I got to have a look at Dragon Balls then. Yep, go check you out some Dragon Balls. Yep. Start out with Dragon Ball, even though I like Dragon Ball Z is my favorite. But Dragon Ball is like the prequel, and then Dragon Ball Z, and then Dragon Ball GT is kind of not really canon, as in it wasn't really created by the creator. I don't think it was officially approved. I'm not sure how that works. And then Dragon Ball Super is the final set or chapter, and I think there's going to be another one that was supposed to come out, but I think Akira Toriyama, he just passed away not that long ago, like 3 or 4 months ago, maybe, if I remember right. Had when constantly vetting injured. Hard when constantly getting injured. Yes, I also have some Dragon Ball theories that I relate to spirituality as well, like how to ascend to godhood in the Dragon Ball universe compared to how we theorize it's done. Yeah, yep. I mean, you know how hard like Goku and all those guys train. Like it's very physical. And you know, if you're really going to have those powers and things, your body has to be able to take on all those dense energies. That's why people who work with a lot of like the darker tree components, your body, your physical vessel has to be able to take on all that stuff. And even, I mean, people don't think of angels as being dense energies, but when you invoke a lot of them and you invoke the right ones, it is dense. It's almost like an armor, like a weight that you can feel. And you're changing the way that reality functions. So the more in shape you are, the tougher you can get, the more you can focus, things of that nature. It's going to help you achieve that level that you're looking to achieve. How are you? Yeah, just tame the dragon. Yep, that's right, the Kundalini. It's definitely got to control the dragon sometimes. Sometimes the dragon gets out of hand. And I know the dragon's an important part of alchemy too. I can't remember exactly what it all symbolizes. There's so many different symbolical meanings of these things. You've got the let's see, Curtis Joseph, he refers to the dragon as the all, and then, you know, all of creation is different. All of us as a collective, we are like scales on the great dragon. And I usually see a dragon accompanying like Raphael instead of the Aquarian man. I'll visualize a dragon. I also see, they talk about a dragon being in, I think he's in the Divine Pymander or one of the Hermes texts. So you have the Ein, which is the no thing, the void, technically, if you want to call it that. I call it, you know, infinite potentiality. And then you have the Ein Sof, which is the infinite all. And I will often see that as this luminous, giant, like light dragon. You know, it's pure light. It's the infinite all. And then it beams forth the Ein Sof Or, which is limitless light. And then the tree of life is formed from that limitless light. And that's where like Kether starts, etc. So just one way to like to view that or observe that. That's a great depiction of the dark shepherd. Thank you. I think I might even do a video of that, because dark shepherd was a term I just thought of like a day or two ago. I was like, I know that there's something to this. There's the good shepherd and there's the dark shepherd. He's kind of like the Dark Knight. You know, Batman, he works from the shadows. People see him as the bad guy sometimes, but he's really doing the hard work. And that's kind of how almost like Lucifer works. He's playing that. He's almost has to play the villain in a way, but really what he's doing is he's pushing forth God's mission, the source's will, through being that evolutionary catalyst pushing force, you know, and forcing us to face what it is that we need to face. It's a really strong energy. It's a really fucking strong energy. I've really not worked directly with the Lucifer energy, but I know that spirit and that name has just been, it's been a very integral part. Like, it's been a presence all along, even though I haven't been consciously working with it. It's always been there, and it's always been a very curious thing to me. So I'm gonna sit down for a minute. I've been walking for a while, get some water. Still got some of this iced coffee left. Thank you all for hanging out with me. Thank you for being a part of this. This is really fun. All right, I gotta check a text real quick. We're back. My son, he went with my sister to a baseball game. This is his very first baseball game. He's only 2, so I'm sure he had a really fun time, and it sounds like he did. So I'm gonna hang out here with you guys for a little while longer before I do make the trek back home. There's absolutely not really any rush, so no reason to. We got 7 people in the chat now, so thank you for joining in. I'm just hanging out in these woods today for a few hours, getting out in nature. These are the original, this is the OG woods. This is where I used to come and meditate like every single day, like back when I first started my practices. There's hardly ever anybody back here, even though it's right in the middle of town. That's a good analogy. Yeah, Goku does have a lot of like angelic type energy. He's more like Christ-like, and then Vegeta is definitely more like Luciferian. Definitely. Goku's just like fucking ignorant sometimes. I love Goku, but he's just dumb. And he's not a very good... Oh yeah, you said it right there, like Jesus and Lucifer. Okay. I just now saw that comment. But yeah, Goku's just, he's not really the best dad, I guess you could say. He means well, but I mean, even, would Beerus have even found like Earth and stuff if it weren't for Goku? Like sometimes Goku's need to fight like just gets everybody in trouble, I feel like too, but he is just kind of like a big kid in that way. You have lifted my spirits, Ty. Thank you. You are so calming. You're welcome. You're very welcome. I would love to, you know, it'd be great if we could like actually hang out sometime. Because you've been a good like, you know, person on this YouTube channel to like kind of spin ideas back and forth with, and you've been on my Patreon for a while now. You've been supporting me, so it's like really cool to like get to know people. And yeah, I don't know where you're from, Karmic. I live in the good old USA. I live in Ohio. What books would you recommend to learn about the real law of attraction and magnetism? Probably the real law of attraction. I would say just study your Hermetic principles. And have you ever read The Law of One? I highly recommend you read The Law of One. It's a hard read, but it's like the most advanced spiritual text that I've ever read, almost. And it's supposed to be channeled from the social memory complex of raw. So you're getting like really raw material. See what I did there? That's a good one. I think there's a lot of new age spirituality, like bullshit type books. I think I've heard, what's the book by Napoleon Hill? Think, think and think and grow rich. I think that's what it's called, or something to do with the devil. That's like a really good, if you want to learn about like how to attract money and stuff. And as far as magnetism, if you want to work on being more magnetic, start working with maybe some of the darker energies, because those are going to be the more magnetic ones. Like angels and stuff, that's more like linear, outward pushing energies. If you work with darker forces, I think that'll help you in your magnetism. And check out Universal Mastery YouTube channel too, because he's gonna be able to teach you a lot about how to energetically become more magnetic. And then just working on your own feminine energy is going to help you be more magnetic too. Learning to be loose and not being so uptight, which is hard, especially for me sometimes. But if you learn to lean into your feminine energy a little bit more, you'll attract things, learn to pull things in, rather than always having to like chase or project. So, start learning how to bring the energy in. But if you're gonna start working on magnetism, you also are gonna have to learn how to absorb like some heavy energies as well. And sometimes it's hard to be able to take on a whole bunch of energies if you're super magnetic. So it's good to have like a balance, I think, not being too magnetic, but not being too masculine oriented either, and like outgoing, because that can cause problems as well. I would love to just chill and chat with you far out. That would be killer. Need to catch more lives. Yes. Thank you for having us. Of course. Thank you for being here. Goku, there's Potato. Hey, Potato. Goku equals Wild Mars, servant of Kali, blind rage addiction. Fuck yeah, there you go. That's a good summary of Goku. Yep. He has that, like, he wants to fight constantly, like he's all about Mars energy, but like he's still like a kid too, and he wants to protect the innocent. But yeah, his hunger for fighting does tend to get him in trouble. And I think the same thing can be said about, even like magical practices and things of that nature, like occult stuff. It's like, how deep do you really fucking want to go with some of this shit? Like, there gets a point to where it's not even serving the self anymore in any practical way. It's like you just end up getting torn up in like a torrent of madness. And what's the point of even getting into spirituality in the first place if that's what's going to take place? You're from Australia. That's right. I think you did mention that before. Will to power, will something, that's the key. Australia. Easier said than done, though. How do you know you're receiving energy and the kind of energy? It's intuitive. Universal, he talks a little bit about, and I've experimented with it a little bit, like trying to like take energy from people in a way that's like, it's not going to be used for anything productive anyway. Like, I'm not stealing like their life force or their essence, but taking the energy and like transmuting it so that it's actually used for something productive. So if you are going to work on like absorbing energies or taking energies in, a lot of it's just going to be intuitive, you got to experiment around with it a little bit and just see what you're having, or what sensations you're having, what feelings you're having. And then, you know, you can also, like when somebody's just, say they're like venting all their problems to you or whatever, instead of like feeling attacked by that energy, you can just consume that energy and use it to feed yourself, because they're wasting it. Yeah, you can steal life force for sure. Do you study any of the darker like aspects of occultism, like the Qliphothic tree? It gets really deep. There's like serious forms of vampirism. I mean, look at the society we live in. It's very vampiric. Life force is being drained all the time, especially when you look at, like, you know, the hard drugs and things of that nature, like being brought in, so that people get vamped of all their energy, and then they're not chemically right anymore, and then they can just become slaves because they don't have sovereignty. They don't have sovereignty over their own being. They get vamped. They get stolen of their life force. You do too many drugs for too long, you know, you're not gonna have that willpower anymore. You're not gonna be the master of your own temple anymore. So I'm not saying that all of that stuff's bad. There's a huge difference between, you know, like crack, cocaine, meth, heroin, and all those things, and like cannabis. That's a huge fucking difference. You know, too much of anything's not good, but certain things in moderation are okay. But then some things you just don't even want to dabble in at all, because all it's going to do is vamp you and steal your power. Even like vapes, all the vapes and tobacco and cigarettes, that's all like vampirizing. But yeah, you can steal life force for sure. I don't know the intricacies of that because I don't focus on that. There's definitely people that I've sent negative energy to, like many times. Well, not many times, but a few times. And but really I try to do it from a source perspective. So instead of me doing it, I'll be, you know, I will connect with my higher self and see where do the energies need to be balanced? Why is there this imbalance going on? And if a person really needs to be confronted with their own dark self, you can raise up the emotions and the blockages in the nervous system within an individual, so that they're going to have to face their own shit. They're going to have to face themselves. And those who have some sense of self-mastery, they'll be all right, you know. But other people who are totally unconscious of any spiritual conceptions whatsoever, they have no idea what the fuck's going on. They think they're going insane. Maybe they're a fucked up person. Maybe they've done some fucked up shit, and now they're just having to face themselves. That's kind of more a source-oriented way of the whole energy, like vampirizing or draining of certain individuals, people who are just totally out of alignment. And you know, I'm a pretty tolerant guy. There's not too many people I don't like. There's not that many. There's a few, and they're real pieces of shit. You know, you gotta be a real piece of shit. But there's a purpose for everything. You know, everybody has, there's a reason. You know, there's a reason behind it, and everyone represents different aspects of ourselves. So a person could literally be a manifestation of, you know, we didn't manifest as that, but it has to have its effect somewhere in the world. Everything has to have its expression. So just be thankful that that person is having to express that and not you. And that way your soul can be free. You realize you're connected to source. You're all good to go. You don't have to worry about that, because you're not going around trying to cause havoc just to cause havoc. Now, if you're doing some darker oriented things to bring balance, and you're doing it from that source or oversoul perspective, it's a little bit different of a story, I feel like. But that's just some of my thoughts on it. You know, let me know what you think. Loosh. And sometimes you will attract unwanted attention. Yep. Gallant. What's some information that made you realize the reality of the spiritual side of the world? Hmm. Well, my spiritual path, I'm trying to go back because, and I talk about it in my book. I talk about it in my book that I have on my Patreon. I go into all of my own personal story and all of those things. I charge $5 a month for that, for the audiobook of that. And you also get a lesser invoking ritual, the pentagram video as well. But I started out in high school. I actually was not very spiritual. I read Ayn Rand, which is objective. Her philosophy is objectivism. It's a very physical based philosophy. It's based on like the five senses, objective reality, etc. All these things. But I still align with a lot of her beliefs and stuff. Not the spiritual aspect of things, but kind of more the societal way that things should go down. And then I ran into, I'd say like when I was about 21, I ran into an old friend from high school, and he introduced me to a bunch of spiritual topics. Like he told me about, he's like, you know, this group of people that run the world, like they're called the Masons. Have you ever heard of them? I'm like, no, I've never heard of that. So shortly after that, I look up the Freemasons, and I thought it was super interesting. I was still agnostic at the time. I wasn't atheist. I wasn't spiritual per se. I pretty much believe that just whatever it is what it is. So if there is a God, there is. If there's not, then there's not. But I didn't believe one way or the other. So I started studying this Freemasonry stuff. I started studying Hermetics because my friend told me about Hermetics and Thoth and all that. So that's kind of the beginning influences there. And then I got asked to join Freemasonry about 6 months or so after like researching it, 6 months to a year after researching it. A guy that from a wedding that I was at a long time ago reached out to me and asked if I wanted to join. And I said no at first, actually, because I'm like, I don't believe in God the way people traditionally do. And then I did tell him how I thought about God. I saw God as the source, you know, that we all originate from, and we're all kind of like sparks or aspects of this source. That was a sufficient enough answer, and then I ended up, you know, joining. And then from there, I just learned about tarot, got into tarot cards, learned about magic around that same time. So like the Golden Dawn and all those sorts of things. It all just came flooding in at once. There were all these different topics that I was studying, and then it took off from there. So that's kind of where my spirituality, my story of spirituality began. So hopefully that helps. But the reality of the spiritual world, I'd say once I started doing practices like the LBRP, I knew that there was like a lot more it took me a while to experience a lot from it, because the first couple times I just felt weird doing it. But then eventually I'm like, man, I'm picking up on things I've never perceived. I can't even explain these experiences I'm having. I really can't. And I've played a lot of music too. I'm a musician. I've played for years. I've been in lots of bands. I've traveled lots of different magical places. I've been to some places that are literally like the fucking Garden of Eden on Earth. Like it's literally a paradise. And there's a frequency there. There's a vibration that you can feel. There's a lot more going on. And you tune into that stuff and you tap in, and you start knowing, and you start picking up on synchronicities, correspondences, all these things, and you're like, wow, I am this conduit that it's constantly manifesting this reality in different ways. And you just come to know that you're connected to source just very, very intimately. So yeah, you're right. Patreon is worth it, peeps. Thank you. The Garden of Vegan. There we go. There we go. That will be when humanity comes back to the Garden of Eden, when we're in that astral level of reality once again, it'll be nice because we'll have worked through the darkness. So we'll all we'll have processed the darkness. It won't be like, don't eat from this tree of knowledge. It'll be like, no, we already fucking ate from the tree of knowledge. We integrated all the fucking lessons and all the darkness. Now we can be here at peace in the Garden of Eden or the Garden of Vegan, and we don't have to eat animals. We won't even have to eat food. It'll just be like the manna from the Bible. So we'll have, instead of whole meals, you'll just eat a little something, and it'll be like astral food of some kind, I'm assuming. So, and then we'll continue to evolve once we've reached that point. So yeah, I think there's a golden age coming. It's going to be a little while. So, but I think all of us, we are people who are setting up for this new world to take place. We are pioneers, almost in a way, of a new world. We're kind of like gatekeepers. We're helping to usher in that new age. Is law of attraction and manifestation the same? Pretty much. Pretty much. What is it that you're wanting to manifest? Or what is it that you're trying to attract, though? That's the real question. But yeah, I'd say they kind of go hand in hand. They're like one and the same. I always take the approach of trying to like just transmute myself or work on my own inner temple, and then the external reality will change as a result of that, rather than so much trying to manifest like physical things. I never really got into that type of magic, like money spells and stuff. I did do a custom money spell once. I kind of just made up my own procedure, and I did it, and I ended up finding a check later on that had already been written for me. So it was money that I technically already had, and it wasn't a lot. It was like $80 maybe or something, but it was still cool. So, but I mean, the more you work on it, study Frater Xavier's channel, Mind and Magic YouTube channel, if you're trying to learn, about money manifestation. I heard that you got to use positive emotion to manifest things you want, so I was curious if it works. Yeah, you do have to like remain positive. You have to say, I attract what wealth and money are manifesting into my life, and everything is proceeding as it needs to. Saying those things, those mantras, will like kind of set triggers in your reality for things to help move in that direction. But you can't just be positive. You have to like take actual steps for that process to take place as well. But the mindset is going to help you a lot. Just having the mindset alone will help you a lot, but it's not going to help you get probably exactly what you want. And, for money or something, you could try burning like a green candle. Maybe carving like a sigil of Jupiter onto a green candle. I worked with Archangel Uriel once to help manifest a new car. We didn't get a free car, but it was a decently priced car, and it still works. We're still using it. But I used a green candle, and I invoked Uriel. I worked with Uriel's sigil. So you can use angels and angel magic to do things as well. If you want to work with the material realm or the material world, manifesting physical things, Archangel Uriel and Sandalphon are going to be your two angels you want to work with primarily. A lot of people on the left-hand path, they'll use demons to get a lot of physical, manifestations, money, and things of that nature. I'm just not knowledgeable enough on how to like work with those energies. I just don't have enough. I've read some books and like watched a lot of videos and things, but demons are just not energies you want to work with unless you're educated and unless you're prepared. I don't think it's like that dangerous as long as you're serious about it and you know what you're doing. You know what you're getting yourself into, especially if you're making deals with spirits or asking for certain things. You just need to make sure you're going about the protocol of it all, like, in the right way. Oh, Sigil of Jupes, nice. Yep. If you use dark forces, wouldn't that risk getting a bad relationship with God? Well, God is everything. So God is the light and the dark, which is, it's kind of hard to understand because we try to, from our human perspective, it's like good and evil. But at the end of the day, it's all just energies. It's all like these positive and negative attributes, like working. It's like electrons and protons, that kind of idea, the battery idea. So it always takes a balance of both these types of energies. And that's what we were talking about with Lucifer earlier, being kind of more the force that pushes boundaries and forces us to evolve and things of that nature. He kind of plays that darker role. So God has like a quote unquote darker side. You know, it's not all love and light. It's not. It's the light. The light comes from the dark. The light bursts forth from the void. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void. Without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And then the ray of light shot forth. You know? Demons are like heavy machinery. Yeah. Yep. Dense. Just heavy. And I don't... The only one I've worked with is a little bit is Lilith. Just a little bit. Not much. But it doesn't take much. That energy is fucking powerful. And I've learned a lot from it. And I didn't ask anything. I didn't ask for money. I didn't ask for material things. I only asked to understand. To just kind of absorb the primal feminine, the dark feminine chaos energy, and to come to understand it better, to familiarize myself with the energies of her, just sitting in the energies, and kind of facing some of the darker aspects of myself. But that energy is powerful. When you work with those sigils or you work with those energies, they run through your nervous system, and you're gonna feel it. It's gonna be dense. It might bring up some yuck. That's what a lot of those denser energies do. They bring up the yuck, and then you got to really work through it. But it's better than being an escapist forever, you know, and trying to avoid all those heavier, denser, negative energies. What is God to you, Gallant? The beginning of everything. The beginning and the end. Yeah, it's the infinity symbol. I'm not even doing that right, but you get what I'm saying. God is infinity, but God's even beyond the chain of karma, the circle, the loop. It's beyond that. God is, yeah, it's, some of these concepts, we can't even really fully grasp them from a human perspective. It's like we're only going to be able to get glimpses of it. And meditation will help you get to those places of understanding too. But really studying like Kabbalah and the Tree of Life and the Tree of Death and understanding the entirety of the whole system is really key in coming to understand a lot of that stuff. Do you think you are a God and God is in you? Sounds like you are not really sure where you stand. I believe a part of God is in us, but we aren't God. So yeah, that's the thing. Some people, they get caught up in thinking that we are God, like, or that an individual is God. But obviously we know that each of us, we're like an individual ray. We're an individual spark of the divine. We're one with the divine. So we are, in a sense, we are source, but we're not the totality of that source. We're like the bacteria within the body of the source, of the creator, which many say the source is really actually feminine in nature. Like we live in a giant womb. You know, it's a giant, the void is everything originates from the void, that no thing, that nothing. which is going to be more feminine in nature rather than masculine, until it gets impregnated by the light, which is the first masculine ray of energy. It's the sperm and the egg. That's how it manifests here on the physical level. It's funny how the physical world reflects all these cosmic principles that are happening. So it's as above, so below. Yeah, we are fractures of God's source, but we are gods. You are more powerful than you think. True. I think it's both. I think we're only a part of it, but we are it as well. But yeah, a lot of people have false understandings of it, because some people are more in resonance with their soul than others. So like when we say everyone is God, it's like, yes, but no. It's like you have to learn to, there's certain like truths that are just true. Like, and that really comes back to the Hermetic principles once again. Like those are the laws that you can't really break. As above, so below. It's the Frater Xavier said something that always resonated with me. He said the higher laws will always trump the lower laws. So there's higher laws governing everything, and those laws you really can't break. They are going to be immutable. We could call them immutable laws of existence. The God of this realm sits in the Milky Way. God's source ain't here. It is within us, but yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying there, Karmic. It's like, it's kind of like we're abandoned, but we're here to go through all this shit. Like we contracted to come here and go through this bullshit for some reason. I don't really know why. Sometimes, but Jobulon runs this joint. Yeah, he does. Maybe on a microcosmic level, but definitely not a macrocosmic level. It's an eyeball, a disc, the all-seeing eye. We each have our own all-seeing eye. I saw mine once. Well, I don't know if it was my own third eye or if it was like the eye of a being or the eye of the all, but that was an interesting experience. That sure was. Yeah, with the firmament, it does look like one. 100% an eyeball. He left us clues. It's like Blue's Clues. Blue's Clues, Blue's Clues. Use our minds, take a step at a time. We can do anything that you want to do. I believe we came here to get stronger, to relate, to experience. Yep. All of these things. It's literally just experiential knowledge, like coming here to have to have the experience, so that no matter how separated we get, we know that we're still connected. Separation for the sake of union, or separation for the sake of unity. Was it Crowley that said that, or did somebody say that before him? If you open your third eye, does it permanently stay open, and what can you see with it? I think it does to a degree. I think it does stay open to a certain degree, but it's not just going to be, you're not just going to have like astral vision. Like, and what can happen is through stress and different factors of life, you can like burn out your meridians. You can even overdo it with like ritualistic practices. It's happened to me like through some of my own unhealthy habits and things of that nature, that the third eye kind of gets shut off, and it is what it is. It's a process. It's a process. You want to work on grounding yourself and focusing more on the lower energy centers, like the physical side of things, as we were talking about with the Dragon Ball Z, before you start trying to open up all those higher centers. Because there have been people who have like opened their crown chakras all the way, or their third eye chakra all the way, and they can like go insane because they're just not ready for it. So there's a lot of like preliminary stuff you want to do before you just start doing all these energetic practices. It's really just for your best interest, you know? So you want to stay grounded in a lot of ways. One of my friends, he has kind of a different view on that. He says he's kind of just, he's done it all, man. He fucking lived the hippie lifestyle. He was out on the road for like 10 years or something. He's still out there doing crazy shit, but he always said, you know, free your mind and your ass will follow. Well, that is kind of true to a degree, but that can be fucking painful sometimes if you're just opening up all these energy centers. That's what happens with the like new age spirituality a lot, is people start doing these yoga exercises. They start doing all these Kundalini awakenings, trying to open their fucking third eye and shit, and they're all doing it so quick that before they know it, they've got like mental problems. And you know, and I kind of was there for a while myself. It can get kind of extreme. 3rd degree in Masonry, learn the earth is eyeball around the 3rd degree. I never learned anything like that. But 3rd degree is all about, well, you do learn about the all-seeing eye. And the all-seeing eye in Masonry, it's just like a symbol for the grand architect, or the architect of the universe. But I do a whole YouTube video on the all-seeing eye. So if you really want to learn more about the all-seeing eye, you should go and check out my YouTube video on that sometime. Because I think I did do a pretty good job explaining on that. But yeah, the 3rd degree is the Master Mason degree. The theme of that degree is all about death. Death and, you know, facing your own mortality and learning that time is limited, and that even though, you know, death does come in the physical form, for all of us, our spirit is eternal. That's really the lesson. I mean, it's a really simple lesson. And it's the same thing that like real Christianity and all these things are like trying to show you, is that our souls and our spirits are immortal. Divided for the sake of unity. Yes. How long did it take you to open the 3rd eye? I mean, I'd say my 3rd eye is not as open now as maybe it used to be. But to be able to start seeing with my astral vision a little bit, it just takes practice. You know, like I said, start with the lower energy centers and then, you know, just keep working at it. It took me, I mean, it probably took me a good like 6 months, I would say, of at least working with the energies within my body and trying to familiarize myself with them. But I've never had like my 3rd eye like fully open, where I'm just totally like seeing the whole spiritual astral realm of things. Like that would be a little overbearing, I'd think. But you're going to get glimpses. You're going to get glimpses of things. You're going to experience sensations you've never experienced. One of the things you can do is you can sit there and close your eyes, and actually, as your eyes are closed, move them, like look up towards the middle of your forehead and rub this area right here. Right, and you'll start to feel a tingling. You'll start to actually feel a tingling, like between your eyebrows and like on your forehead. And that's how you know that little tingling. Your body might even release a little bit of DMT naturally that way. And I've had moments where I've opened my eyes for meditation back in these very woods, and everything's like pixely. It's like astral looking. It's, you know, and it was just from some deep meditation. That's all it took. So yeah, just experiment and learn and experience it for yourself. But just don't try to activate all that stuff too quick. Never rush. Like that's my big thing. Make sure you've got a solid foundation going on. In your life, you have a sense of safety and security. And you know, you have healthy ways of coping with life. Oh, Ty. What'd you say? What'd you say about the third? Learn the Earth as eyeball around third degree. Yeah, some people. Did somebody ask about flat Earth or something too earlier? I missed that. Do you believe the Earth is flat? No, I don't think so. It could be. It looks pretty damn flat, like when you're up in an airplane. I don't see any curvature when I'm on an airplane. It's really impossible, I guess, to know unless you go up there yourself in a, to space, and then you would see. But no, I think the Earth is a sphere. I'm pretty sure it's a sphere. I think it's hollow. I think there are like cities and things within the inner Earth. So that's my view on it. No, the only thing they show you in masonry as far as like the globe is just the two pillars. You have the terrestrial globe on one pillar, and then you have the zodiac and the firmament and the stars on the other pillar. As far as that, I've never learned anything about the formation of the world, that like esoteric, what is the real shape of the world. Like, a lot of people say that us Masons know like if space is real or not, but I mean, Neil Armstrong would know, because he apparently went to space. I don't think that footage is real. I think that footage is bullshit. I think humanity went to the moon a long time ago, before that. And I think they found maybe some not so friendly extraterrestrial friends there. And I don't know. I don't really know what's going on, as far as all these different like agendas. And I try not to focus on all that shit too much anymore. It's just hard because you don't really know unless you experience it, right? So, do the Masons teach you or just give you books? Well, you essentially go through rituals, and then you have to take an examination, which is like a question answer thing where you return answers. So that's really the only quote unquote like teachings they do. But then we also give educational courses. There's what's called a lodge education officer, and I used to be one, and it's usually just a quick 5 to 10 minute presentation during a meeting talking about some various topic of Freemasonry. So really the education of it all, you're just going to learn the same, when you go through the degrees, you're learning the same system as everyone else. So you're basically going through the ceremony. You're learning kind of what you went through, the symbology of it, but the only way you're going to learn what all of it even means is if you get into deeper studying. If you start reading books on Freemasonry, if you start doing your own meditations. And a lot of guys, they don't get into spirituality. I mean, it's kind of weird. Like, they just go to lodge, they just get their degrees, they pay their yearly dues, and that's it. And I mean, that's fine for a lot of people if they want to use it as a social club. That's fine, but it's a mystery tradition that, is connected to Samaria and Atlantis. I mean, at the end of the day, it's attached to all these old things, and it's not the same anymore. It's taken on a different flavor. It is, it's all based around biblical stories and King Solomon's temple. So it's using that template or that archetype to teach all of these different mysteries about yourself. Essentially, it's learning about the self. You are the temple of God. You are the temple of Solomon, essentially. Wow, I'm really it's kind of weird there's no trash cans on this path. I figured I'd have been able to dump my drinks out by now. Have I not seen it? Yeah, we'll check it. Cool, the all-seeing eye one. Yeah. Why did you stop uploading on Patreon? What's up, Harry? Are you part of the $10 tier, Harry, or are you just on the $5 tier? Because you'll have to pay you'll have to pay $10 to get my 8th chapter of the book. And then everything after chapter 8, well, chapter 8 and everything else is going to be on the $10 tier. Well, I stopped uploading because I haven't really had time to write. Not the next chapter anyway. What I want to do is I want to get those first 8 chapters copyrighted. And then I'm going to make a PDF so that people can just outright buy the PDF that way. And then I'm hoping once I get that done, I'm almost done with the 9th chapter. So once the 9th chapter is done, that will be discussing some of the, that chapter will be about the Mark Master Mason degree, which is actually the fourth degree if you go the York Rite path. So there's that degree, and then if you go Scottish Rite, I think it's Secret Master. I think that's the 4th degree, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, it's coming, but it's just gonna be a while. I just don't even get a lot of free time anymore. I am usually, I got a lot of responsibilities and stuff, but I wish I had more time just for being able to do these practices and writing, all those things. LVX, what's up? Crowley. Yep, we were just talking about him a little bit ago. How are you doing? I hope your day is going all right. Is there a certain type of meditation you do? Yes, hold on just a minute. I'm gonna jump in the car here. LVX, did you say you have to go to work? Gotta work now. Great info as always. Thanks. Of course, LVX. All right, so my phone is getting low on battery. It's at 14%. I've got about a 20-minute drive home, so I'm gonna keep trying to go. I'm gonna try to read through some of this stuff real quick and then answer what I can on the drive. Certain type of meditation that you do, yeah, I'll get into that. It's both a flat plane on a disc and a cube and a circle. Wow, that's like complex. Free Guys fish tank, look at the movie, that's Earth, the fish tank. Space is water, baby. I've seen some of those videos where it looks like the stars are like covered in water. Are we just in a giant dome? Yeah, top-down awakenings are the people online claiming they are Jesus, Michael, and Satan. Yeah, there's definitely some wackos out there. Like, I've seen some really weird channelers, quote-unquote channelers, that are like, I am Michael. You must hear this message now. Portals and oceans, spaceships. I need sleep. Oh my gosh, it's 3 a.m. Yeah, you do. We all live in a yellow submarine. A yellow submarine. A yellow submarine. Yeah, I'm a 32nd. Aren't all 33rd ones? 33rd's just an honorary degree, so they have to come to you and say, hey, we want you to be a 33rd. That only happens when you've made either you've made some kind of big contribution to Freemasonry as a whole, or you've really done a lot of service for Scottish Rite in general. So yeah, sometimes it's guys that have a lot of money and they're able to donate a lot to the fraternity. But yeah, I mean, 33 degrees in the astral realm. I know a bunch of 33rd degree guys, and they're not really into the esoteric stuff. You'd be surprised. So really, it's just it depends on how much service you've done. Probably maybe on who your friends are and stuff. It just depends. Might have to start paying $10 from now, and I canceled because I didn't know what was going on with you. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you just want to pay that $10 for a month just to get that next chapter, that's totally fine. You don't have to like keep paying if you don't want to. I mean, you always can, and I will definitely appreciate that. How long was your walk? Well, I don't know. I've been walking around I've walked a lot today back in the woods. It's just a path though, so it goes around in a loop. I probably walked in that loop like 10 times though today doing this video. It's probably like a half-mile loop or something like that. Maybe not even a whole half mile. Maybe like a quarter of a mile. It's not that long, so. All right. Michael is your unhinged ego, bro. Michael's energy can be harsh sometimes. Very warrior energy. I've had certain people come around me, and Michael's energy is still, I work with Michael because I work with, I do the lesser rituals of the pentagram. So his energy has often been, present within me. And there's some people that he doesn't like. It's like I get warning signals in my nervous system. It's like, whoa, watch out. Watch out for this guy. Thanks, Ty. Ride safely. I will. I'm paying attention to the road. So cool. You were asking what practices I do, though, Gallant. Was that you, I think? The only practices I've been doing recently is mostly just like I do my own different version of the lesser invoking ritual of the pentagram. I don't do banishings very often. I did do a banishing like a month or so ago, and then I did an invoking right afterwards. So I'll try to banish what I don't need and then manifest back down. Because when you're banishing, you're pushing things back to the spiritual realm. You're pointing upwards. When you're invoking, you're drawing down from the divine to bring it down to the material plane. So for me, I've done more invoking. I haven't really been doing banishings because I'm not trying to get rid of a bunch of energy. I'm trying to deal with the energy instead of just like clearing the space like every single time. But when I do invoking, I'm able to just draw down the proper energy, the divine energy that I need to. So I do the lesser invoking ritual of the pentagram. I always do a relaxation ritual first, which you learn how to do that. I teach you in my very first YouTube video that I ever did on this channel. And then there is a ritual called the Kabbalistic Cross, which is really simple for the most part. I do an advanced version of that, which I do talk about in one of my videos. I think it's called the Advanced Kabbalistic Cross and Middle Pillar. So I do relaxation ritual to get started, to get the energy flowing and moving through the body. Then I do the Kabbalistic Cross, and then if I need to do a banishing, I'll do a banishing. I just don't do it that often anymore. And then I do a lesser invoking ritual of the pentagram. I've changed up the direction of the elements and the sacred god names, so I don't do it exactly the same as they teach you in the books. I do explain how I do it though on my Patreon, the $5 tier. And then like today I did a middle pillar. I hadn't done a middle pillar ritual in a long time. And then when I do the middle pillar, I also envision the archangels of the Sephiroth being on the different parts of my body. The tree of life corresponding to the different parts of the body. So Kether, Hokmah, Binah, Dath, Hesed, Geburah, Tiphereth, etc. And then that's pretty much where I'll end it. So I hope that answers your questions for, like, as far as the exercises that I do. I've also been working with the Archangel Raphael quite a bit for physical healing because of this pneumonia and stuff. So sometimes I will, instead of vibrating different angels, I will just vibrate Raphael in all directions, and then I'll sit with his sigil sometimes. If you want to work with a particular angel or any spirit, the sigil is like the most powerful portal. It's the most powerful gateway to get in connection with that particular spirit, if that makes sense. But it is powerful though. It can rock you off your knockers sometimes. Rock you off your knock you off your rocking chair, however you want to look at it. Sometimes after a serious invocation session, like I had some really extreme ones with Raziel where he showed me some really interesting things and it was really profound. But when I came to, I was very almost off balance. It's usually pretty tiring. It's a pretty tiring process too. So, I've got about 5 minutes, 10 at most, left for this video. So if any of you have any last questions or anything, I'm gonna go ahead and end the video soon. If you haven't already, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, please, because that helps, share this information and this knowledge. So cool. Squares. Yeah, squares. I like squares. Some people, they're like, oh, you're a square? Squares are foundational though, man. Come on. If you ain't got the square, they say you have to circle the square though. Or is it square the circle? I would say circle the square because the square is really rigid. It represents physical, and I talk about this in my book quite a bit too, Freemasonry and Ceremonial High Magic. The square is like that solid foundational piece that the house rests upon. It's the foundation, and everything else is going to be built upon that. And think of that, the square as the physical world, and then the compasses or the higher geometries, the spirals, all of that stuff as the higher dimensions. So you're building those higher dimensions from those rudimentary pieces, those foundational pieces. And those pieces would be the squares. So the squares are really important. And Freemasonry is very centered, it's very oriented around that geometry. Squares are really important when it comes to Freemasonry and squaring things, as you'll learn about, if you study that craft at all. So the problem with squares is they are super rigid though. So if you're too much of a square, or if you're too focused on the square, your brain can start to become squared. And that's why when people graduate from college, or high school, they wear a fucking square on their damn head. Do you ever wonder why graduates wear a square on their head? It's because their reasoning, their whole mind, their divine consciousness has been squared. And they're stuck in the square. And it's just a circuit. It's a fucking circuit that's just gonna run around and around and around. And it's not gonna lead you anywhere. It has its purpose, but you don't wanna get caught up in that geometry forever. Or it's just gonna be an endless circuitry of madness. You have to come back to the circle. You have to come back to the chaos, the primordial chaos at some point. The feminine's very powerful. So when you take the feminine energy out of the equation and it's only masculine, it's only linear, it's only straightforward, it's only phallic, yeah, good luck with that. You need the circle, you need the feminine, you need the womb to create life. It's become so overly synthetic. I hope all these imageries are maybe helping to spark some things in your mind, and you're like, aha, I see it now. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Run from squares, run to triangles. Yeah, triangle's a good shape. I like triangles. Yeah, triangle is at the apex. So at the top of the tree of life, you've got the triangle with, of course, the all-seeing eye within the triangle. The supernal triad is the top three Sephiroth. So Kether, Hokmah, Binah. And within that triad on the tree of life is the all-seeing eye. And some people say that's the great architect of the universe. I just saw a car with the compasses on it. What's that car company they're called? I'm not good with my car model names. So I don't, is it Pontiac? That's not Pontiac, is it? No, Pontiac's. And Earth has the line through, but they're all different triangles. But yeah, three sides. I think the triangle is very powerful. The power of three. It takes three to manifest. Triangle is really the shape of manifestation. Aliens have taken over the live chat. It is 3:33 here right now, so I think that's probably a perfect time to go ahead and end the chat. I just got back to my parents' house, so Karmic, I think you're the only one in the chat right now, so I'm glad you made it into the chat today. I think just the signal went out, because I think the signal's kind of bad out here in some areas, so... 3 a.m. Nice, 333. It did cut out. I cut out for about a whole minute or so, I think, so... Well, alrighty, I guess I'm going to go ahead and end the chat here. Potatoes here, so... Yeah, guys, so... Yeah, we'll end the chat here, and I want to thank those of you who are still around. Thank you for being a part of the chat, and I look forward to talking to you all hopefully really soon. I'll try to do another one of these live chats soon. I might be doing a couple videos in between now and then. I'm not sure, but you all know how to reach out to me. I've got my email, in most of my video descriptions. It's, if not there, it's on my YouTube channel info. You can get my email there if you ever want to reach out. So, all right, everyone. Have a blessed day or night wherever you are. And Karmic, Potato, I will see you soon. And I really do thank you for tuning into this live and hanging out with me today. So, alrighty, peace and blessings.